Hello, Flosstube. This is Elizabeth Martinez, phantastitches, with my wonky, wadded up t-shirt. This is my channel about cross stitch, and today is Saturday, July 3rd. Happy 4th of July tomorrow on Sunday for those of you in the U.S. And this is a channel about cross stitch, so I'm going to go ahead and get started on it. I can't know what I'm talking about. This is probably going to be a pretty short video. I don't have a whole lot. I'm going to talk about my cross stitch. So this is the beginning of July, so the July segment of cross stitch camp is going on now. Started on July 1st, and so I participated last week. I did the Blackwork Angels. I had one that I was going to do that was on my list, and since I finished it right away, pretty much in the first week of June, I went ahead and just worked on the rest of the Blackwork Angels from that chart, and one extra one that I had. I talked about that last week. So for this month, the challenge, the theme was to do a chart from a designer that you'd never done before. So, and I talked about this last week also. So my July project is this mini spring by From the Heart, NeadleArt by Wendy Peatross. Peatross. I don't know how you say her last name. But apparently she was at a retreat. Somebody else had posted a chart of hers that they were doing. And I cannot remember what the chart was now, but it was From the Heart, NeadleArt. She had done had been at a retreat. I want to say it was put on by the Silver Needle. Anyway, the person who posted about it had met Wendy because she was sitting at her table, and she had given everybody at the table a chart of hers. So yeah. It was very nice. And I can personally attest that Wendy has responded to me immediately. I had some questions about the chart. There were some little errors on the chart. And so I just emailed her, and she emailed me back right away with an explanation, a correction, and whatever. So yeah. So anyway, I'm doing this mini spring, and the reason I liked it, I was attracted to it, was that bunny. There, and it's cute. It's got little chicks and lambs and flowers and everything, so butterflies on the top. So anyway, this is the chart I'm working on for the month of July, and like I said, the challenge was to work on a design by a designer you've never done before, and that's Wendy. This came out this spring, the Needlework Expo in March. So anyway, I started it on July 1st, and it's going very quickly. This is how far I've gotten. I didn't do the black yet for the little bodies of the butterflies. I'm kind of a color completist, so I worked on all the blue. There's no other place in the chart that uses the blue except for the butterflies and the word spring. I think the rest of it is all other colors. But so right now I did the flower, and right now I'm working on the stem here. And so, and this stem continues down and blends into the little grass under here. So that's probably what I'm gonna work on next. So just continue this down here and then do the grass and the word spring. But it's coming along it's going very quickly. So yeah, this is my July project for cross stitch camp. And then I worked on, for the days in between when I finished the June stuff and before the July 1st start, I worked on Easter preparation. And this was, this again is a Twin Peak Primatives chart. I just love that, the bunny and the little mice with the white eggs, and the bunny painting eggs. And this other mouse is carrying off a painted egg. It's finished, so he's carrying it off to put in an Easter basket somewhere. So I finished all the letters, the little banners behind the letters that say Easter, and this is the little scarf around the bunny's neck, because it was the same color as this egg here. So, and it also gives me a place, from which to start the bunny. But also, so I finished the eggs, and there's a brown right here for the paintbrush that's being used here. But I have to wait till I finish the bunny so I can have some place to anchor it and count from it and everything. But I finished this mouse carrying and his egg that he's carrying, the painted egg. And I finished the little paint cans, paint pots, and the table. So actually, this half from here on over to the end here is finished. So I just have this half to go. So I anticipate this mini spring going very quickly, and I anticipate finishing it before probably before the halfway month of the halfway mark of the month. I can't speak English. In which case I'll continue working on this and the Priscilla's Pocket snowman that I talked about last week. I'll probably work on that also. But yeah, so this one is also going very quickly, considering the fact that I usually am stitching on it late at night as I'm falling asleep, So, but so yeah, I'm working on that. And so, otherwise, I haven't really had any haul this week. I was trying to sort of save money because it was the end of the month, and I've been like spending money willy-nilly. And well, part of it was that earlier this month, sort of at the beginning of the month, I guess, I had just like in the spent a lot of money doing things like, I think it was this month, June, that I paid for what do you call it? I got some dental work, and then just buying this and buying that, and I've had a lot of haul recently, just like spending a lot of money, and so I was trying to sort of rein it in this past week or so. Well, last week I spent money at Mole Queen and at Tempe on Fiber, and so yeah, this week I was like, I need to cool it a little bit, and but that didn't stop me from going to the movies. My sisters and my sister-in-law and my nephew and I went to see 12 Mighty Orphans, it's a really good movie. Highly recommend it. Luke Wilson, for those of you who know who he is, he's in the movie along with Martin Sheen, and there's a little bit in there by Robert Duvall. He shows up in there, and Wayne Knight, who loves to play the bad guy. Wayne Knight is in that movie. And anyway, it's really good. It takes place during the Depression in the 30s, and it's based on a true story, and it talks about how uh, some of the I think the some of the innovations in football that came about because of this team that started at an orphanage in Texas. Anyway, it's a really really good movie. Even if like I'm not really much of a football watcher. I don't watch the games on the weekends or anything like that. Um, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a great deal. Anyway, so if you get a chance to go see that, go and see it. Now that the theaters are opening up, and I'm checking my notes here. Yeah, so that's I like I said, I didn't spend money on any haul this week. But what I have been doing is going through my all my patterns. I've sort of been wanting to reorganize my patterns, and I know that some people have like notebooks with like a with all their patterns and page protectors or whatever, and it seemed to me to be a really good idea because you don't want to hole punch anything, right? You don't, because there's usually not room in a pattern to put hole punches in there. So with the page protectors, it's a little sleeve and you can slide the pattern in there, and I've had to, with some of the smaller patterns, something like this size or the half page size, whatever, to put like just a piece of notebook paper in there to hold so the page protector holds its shape basically, and doesn't crunch up and sag or whatever with the smaller piece. But most charts are that are this size fit easily in the page protector, and if it's like PDF pages and things like that, you know. So I'm setting them all up, and I have some index dividers, so I can sort them by maybe season. Like I want to maybe do one section of just Christmas patterns. And matter of fact, I have 3 notebooks now. I have one that's like a 2-inch notebook that is basically charts that I've already stitched. And some of them, like some of the smaller ones, little like bookmarks or small patterns, whatever, I've just stuck them all together, like I have some that are small, like this size, and just I have them all in one thing, because it's not like I need to. Part of my brain wants to say, well, someday I might want to stitch this for this reason or that reason. Yeah, I don't know. But for now, they're all in there together. And so I have like this 2-inch binder that has just the patterns that I've already stitched. And then I have, I had a, like 1-inch, 1.5-inch binder, just a regular sized notebook, that I had something else in that I thought, oh yeah, I'm going to use that. And so that one has my Christmas charts in there, and it's very full. So I don't know if I'm going to use that or get another notebook, whatever. I just happened to have it because I was like thinking, well, I want to put these somewhere. And then I have a 3-inch binder that has pretty much everything else in it. I think I have them all in there, but now I have to categorize them. And one category I know I want to do is like freebie charts, that many of you know that during 2020, when the lockdown started everywhere, um, uh, several designers did the Be Well and Stitch movement, for better want of a better choice of words. But so this Be Well and Stitch movement, that a lot of the designers contributed free charts with some play on those words. A lot of bees, a lot of wells, be well. Other, like we're all in this together, whatever. So anyway, I printed off a bunch of those charts. I don't know if I got all of them, but several of them, or at least all the ones that I was interested in stitching, and a few, whatever. So I have all of those, and I think I want to put them, and then maybe other freebie charts that I got for various reasons. Like there were some that just that some designers had as freebies that are giveaways or whatever, or things that I got that that came free with the purchase of whatever. So anyway, I'm trying to sort of categorize things, and I'm thinking like I have a bunch of stitching with the housewives patterns, because most of them I should say I bought them all as PDFs. So so I was trying to keep track of, like, because they have giveaways every week, and so I was losing track of, like, I know I entered this as for a chance at a giveaway, but did I then go and buy it afterward? Because I remember the chart, but I couldn't remember whether I had already bought it. And recently I was looking at some of their charts on their site, and I couldn't remember if I already buy this one. So yeah, I have several of the charts that I had bought or whatever, and so I kind of wanted to put them, the stitching with the housewives, and maybe alphabetize those charts so that I know what I have. And like I have several Twin Peak Primatives charts, and I want to put those in alphabetical order. Some of the charts I just have one of this designer and one of that designer. So anyway, so that's my dilemma. I'm trying to organize all those charts and find a way to do that. But then I also came across some patterns that I was discussing this with my sisters on our Three Sisters Creative Sticks and Strings video that we just recorded that this morning. But I came across, in doing all of that, I came across several patterns that I decided, like, do I still want to do this? I talked about this a few weeks ago. When I was doing during May, when I was doing Whipmania, and I had like 21 whips that I was working on, and I had one that I started shortly after my nephew was born. So it's not my oldest whip, but one of my oldest whips, because my nephew's going to be like 25 or something, I think, in a few weeks, in a month or so. But anyway, so but like I said, I started this when he was an infant. It's a baby birth sampler kind of thing, and I kind of don't really have. I like it because it's almost finished, but at the same time, I really, when I worked on it almost out of obligation, not out of, gee, I want to do this because it's so fun or whatever, And I have one other chart that I kind of have no real interest in continuing on with it. It's I think I've talked about this before. ingredients of a happy home or something to that effect. And anyway, so when I was going through all these patterns and stuff, I have and I'm not even talking about kits. I have a little box that has kits in it, but these are just patterns, and I thought, there's some patterns in there that I'm like, I don't know that I really want to like. There's a pattern I have, and I think it's Teresa Wensler. Somebody famous like that. But it's the Castle Sampler. And actually I thought about this because two different people posted pictures on Facebook or Instagram, one or the other, or both. One was a lavender and lace pattern, and the other was the Teresa Wensler, or I think it's Teresa Wensler, Castle Sampler. And I have 3 lavender and lace, Angel of Hope or Guardian Angel, 3 of those angel patterns, and this Castle Sampler pattern. And the Castle Sampler, I like it. It's very intricate. It has lots, but I kind of don't like it, and not enough to like going, oh, I want to do that. It's one of these that it's very pretty, but it has a lot of it's I think it's full coverage, and it has a lot of threads and and I'm like, I kind of don't really want to do it now. I think, my tastes have changed. I think what's available is different now because, at the time that I bought it, almost everything, I never went to a local needlework shop. I don't know that I thought about it, that thought about there being such a thing. And so, any patterns and supplies and things like that I bought were always from like Hobby Lobby or Michael's, And so what was available at those stores, was somewhat limited. And then especially, I think, as certain other things like scrapbooking became very popular at one point, and so cross-stitching became less popular at that time. And so a lot of stores just began cutting back their cross-stitch supplies. And like Michael's, there's very little at Michael's, and there's more now, I think, than there was for a while, but not as much as there was in the early '90s. Anyway, so I'm thinking that I'm probably gonna do another purge, and so I think those lavender and lace patterns and the Castle Sampler and others, maybe a few others that I have. I'm thinking about giving them away because, a couple of people that when I mentioned in these Facebook posts, when I mentioned like, oh yeah, I think I have those patterns, they're like, oh well, you should go ahead and start them. I'm like, I thought about that, and part of me wants to still, of course. I think that's part of the allure of cross-stitching. You look at something and you think, that's really pretty. And of course, it's, if you've been doing it, if you've been stitching for any length of time, you think, yeah, I could do that. I could buy this fabric. Especially now when I'm not as... At the time that I bought the lavender and lace patterns, for instance, I had only ever stitched on Ada, and I was a little chicken about doing, stitching on linen, or whatever they call for. and also there's a lot of beading and things like that. And so I was like, and cryonic, there's some cryonic involved, and so I it was hard to find the right chronic and beads and stuff. That I probably needed to order those online. Well, in those days there was no online ordering, I don't think. Um, but anyway, so I probably could do them much more easily now than I could back then. But you know, um, they're larger patterns, and they would have to be framed, whatever. And I don't know that I'm really into that so much anymore. Um, like I said, I'm kind of torn because part of me really wants to do that still. There's a reason that I bought those charts in the first place, because that appeals to a certain part of me, I guess. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't know now, because as my sisters and I were saying, I'm more into sort of well, this style and this size. Maybe a little, this may be a little small. Maybe out, some of the ones I've done were a little larger. But also they're a little more versatile. They're, that you can make a little pillow out of it. You can make a little, you know, uh, well, like I did, I think last spring, whatever, I did that spring gathering, and I just finished it on a little easel, wooden easel thing. Um, so that sort of thing is much more appealing to me than a big, like big wall hanging kind of framed, you know. So I don't know. I'm probably gonna go through and do a hard purge on my patterns and decide which ones I really, really, really want to keep, and and make some hard decisions about which ones to get rid of. Um, so I in the future I may be doing some more some giveaways or something here, or I may look into some of the D-stash sites. I can't speak for some reason today. Some of the D-stash sites, depending on what rules, whatever they have in those groups. I haven't really looked into that so much now. But but it's hard because it's easier for me to do things, to say, oh, I want to do this for so and so because I like the way this looks, and it speaks to their personality. And well, like I did that tribal owl thing for my sister-in-law Rachel. For it's not something I would necessarily do for myself, but I know that that's something that she likes, and so I'm going to do it for her and give it to her. And but I don't want to give somebody something to say, here, this is, now you have to deal with it. I want to give them something that that they can, that's more practical for them, whatever. And speak, like I said, speaks to their personality, something that they really like or whatever. And um, and so stitching something for myself, um, I don't do nearly as often, and sort of things that are for myself, I have to sort of think, what do I really like, what do I really want, um, and what am I going to do with it when I'm done. I have, as many people do, I have an under the bed box kind of thing of unfinished, unFFO'd, I should say finished stitching wise, finished, but non-FFO'd stuff. I have a pile of things that I've stitched but have not FFO'd, and I don't even know how I'm going to do them necessarily. But but I want to. And so that's I have enough of that that I don't need to add to it by doing projects that I'm not that interested in anymore. So you like, yeah, like I said, I'm gonna go through and decide more about what I want to keep and what I don't, you know. So it's by no means a quick process. I think it's going to take me a while to decide. Partly because the more I have to decide about, the the harder it is for me to decide. But anyway, so you know, and now especially that my sisters and I are doing, you know, so much with the Etsy site and stuff like that. You know, I have needle binders that I want to make and scissor fobs that I want to make that I keep buying stuff for. I keep buying charms and beads and whatever and not making them, talking about them, not making them. Um, so yeah, I have a lot of that to do. And so yeah, it's just it's a long process, and there don't seem to be enough hours in the day to do like all the stitching that I'm doing for cross stitch camp, and then all the fobs I want to do, and all the needle minders I want to do, you know. Um, and part of it is too is like, you know, not having a good space to do that. If my sister, you know, is wanting to do some stitching, wanting to make project bags or quilts or whatever, you know, she has the dining room table that we use for that primarily. Um, and you know, we don't have a like a craft room kind of thing to leave stuff sitting out, you know, as easily. And so it, you know, so logistically it's harder to do. But but yeah, so all of those are factors in this issue uh, for me. But anyway, oh, so one other thing I wanted to touch on quickly is an Etsy site update. So that's basically, you know, if you're not interested in Etsy site stuff, um, that I released you. I'm done with my with talking about the other aspects of cross stitch, but I did want to talk about the Etsy site, Three Sisters Creative. So if you are interested in, if you want to look up that up, you know, look at project bags and notions pouches and scissor fobs and needle minders, and there's even a few patterns on there. We are having a July sale. So that began on July 1st, basically. So it's 20% off everything on the site. And then we all always have had free shipping if you spend $35. So you have 20% off. So if you spend in that 20% off, you get your way up to $35, then you have free shipping. So go on the Etsy site and see what you like there. We've got lots and lots and lots of project bags and notions pouches and lots of scissor fobs, lots and lots of needle minders. And you know, they're very different in terms of needle minders. They're, you know, they're not. So a lot of people are able to make enamel, you know, things that, you know, and ours are perhaps a little different. A lot of fabric covered button kind of needle minders, and just other, you know, just found objects that we think, hey, that'll make a neat needle minder. Um, so feel free to look in there. It's a little unusual, a little different, you know, but we have lots of inventory. So like I said, we're having a sale, 20% off, and then if you spend up to $35, then it's after $35 and up is free shipping. So again, the Etsy site is Three Sisters Creative. The number 3 Sisters Creative, and feel free to comment here, or, you know, and I'm gonna have the link, the Three Sisters Creative link, in the description box below. And you know, Be sure and like and subscribe this video. Subscribe to this to my videos if you like the content here, and hit the little notification bell. You'll get a little notification every time I post an update. But also look for the Three Sisters Creative, the sticks and strings videos that we do, and like and subscribe there as well. And my sister Eve has her site, Everyday Artist Eve, that she also does Flosstube videos and painting videos is on there as well. So everything for your viewing pleasure. So I think that's about it. It ended up being 30 minutes after all, because I blathered on and on. But yeah, so next week I'll have a further update on what's going on with my cross stitch camp stitching, and hopefully maybe some more Easter preparation, or that my little snowman, Priscilla's Pocket Snowman kit that I plan to also do. So anyway, I will see you next week, and I think that's it. So happy stitching. Bye.